Well, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us on this Dentrix G5 Connected webinar. I'm Jason Warner, and I'm one of the Schein Practice Solutions product marketing managers. I'm joined by Kevin Goodman, who's with Broadview Networks. Welcome, Kevin.
Hi, Jason. How's it going?
It's fantastic to have you here. We have a lot of people on this webinar, and it just really goes to show how much interest there is in Dentrix G5 Connected Solutions. So why don't we jump right into this?
It's great.
This webinar will focus on the integration of Broadview Networks phone systems with Dentrix G5. And really what we hope to do is show you how an integrated phone and practice management solution can show you right up front how much that next call that your practice receives is really worth. But before we jump into that, let's go to the next slide. And let me tell you just very quickly about our partnership with Broadview and how we're able to provide these solutions. With the release of Dentrix G5, Dentrix developed a program that allows our partners to develop their software in conjunction with Dentrix. So it really has three components. Number one, it has a developer program in which certain development organizations and vendors and third parties are given access to Dentrix G5 code that allows them to integrate their products very tightly with the product. So really you get a unified experience between Dentrix and our partner program and our other vendors' applications. And once that development is done, our vendors send their products back to the Dentrix test team, and we actually look at it in conjunction with our product and really make sure that it functions well, that you're getting a unified, seamless experience, and that it passes our quality tests. And when it does that, our partners are issued the Dentrix G5 Connected logo. And when you see that logo, you can have confidence that you're using a product that's been reviewed and tested by our internal Dentrix team. And the third component is really your inward-facing view of all these products, and that's the Dentrix Marketplace. And you can go to dentrixmarketplace.com and see all of the solutions, the hardware, the software, and the services that have been integrated with Dentrix G5. And that's your place, your location on the web to purchase and find out more about each one of the solutions that's integrated with Dentrix G5. So with that overview, I'm very excited to turn the microphone over to Kevin, who's going to walk us through how Broadview has done a very innovative integration with phone systems with your Dentrix G5 software. Kevin, why don't you take it away?
Hi, Jason. Thanks a lot, and thank you, everyone, for joining today. For those of you who this is their first look at a Dentrix Connected product, I think you'll be excited with what we've been able to do. And I just have to say, Jason, your team's been fantastic in supporting us with our effort to integrate this product with Dentrix G5, so thanks again. But today we really want to touch on a couple of things that are going to help your practice and really elevate your practice with the way that you use technology. From speaking to dental practices across the nation as we've been traveling at some of the dental shows, we've noticed that there's a common theme. All dental practices are trying to improve practice revenue. They want to improve staff productivity, improve patient satisfaction, and at the same time reduce operational costs. And the ability to do this really starts at your front desk, because the front desk is key not only for new patient acquisition, but also for patient satisfaction of your existing patient base. What we've done is taken a phone system, and really a communication system, because it goes beyond what you would typically think of as a phone system, and added numerous features, used cloud technology to really make this work well in a practice environment. But let me expand on that and give you a little bit more color. So the OfficeSuite is the name of our patented IP-based phone system. And IP-based just means it's a cloud-based phone system, which means that the intelligence is in the cloud versus being on-premise. Now, if you think about the way other things have evolved, you used to get your mail via letters or something that was mailed to you in the post, and now you can go online and check your email because all of that data for your email is stored somewhere in the cloud and you're accessing it. Well, it's not exactly the same thing, but it's the same principle with the phone technology when we say cloud-based phone system. All of the intelligence that makes your phone system work today that lives on-site is in the cloud instead, which means you don't have to maintain it, you don't have to touch it, you don't even need to see it. But there's no changes to your experience in terms of just getting a phone call. You actually can keep your number and operate with your phone system same way you do today. But when it's an IP-based or a cloud-based phone system, it comes with a lot more advantages. So instead of just being able to pick up and receive a call and make a call, you have extended features that really help your practice operate in an optimal level. So let's take a look at that. It includes your phone system and features, as I mentioned. It includes your unlimited and local long-distance calls, OfficeSuite also includes an online website that allows you to make changes and updates to the system. So let's say you want to go in there and change what a particular button does on your phone, or switch on a feature that you didn't use before, but now your practice has expanded and you need to be able to use that feature. Well, you can do that all yourself without having too much of a learning curve. You just go onto the online website. Within 3 clicks, less than 10 seconds, you can make that change. But I'll go into that a little bit more as we go through the presentation. It also comes with the ability to add additional options or features and functions to the phone system too. And that's integrated call center tools. So this is, for example, if you want to be able to monitor calls or route calls based on a particular skill, or if you had someone who spoke a particular language, you want all the calls to go to them. There are numerous things within the integrated call center tools that we could go into, and that's mostly for a practice that really has heavy call volume and wants to be able to do some neat things there. But they also have the option to take advantage of our secure multi-site data networking. So if you're a practice that has multiple locations, we can network all of those sites together, and the system works very well in the multi-site environment with features such as intercoming through the phones, for example. And then you also have the option of getting your high-speed internet access from us. The phone system is IP-based, which means it runs using the internet, and you can use your existing internet and have this phone system layer over it, or you could purchase the internet from us. We do have the ability to provide internet services throughout the country, and you can get that all bundled into one solution. The other great thing is with this phone system, there is no capital investment or maintenance contracts to worry about. So when we get into the pricing, I'll shed some more light on that, but you shouldn't think that the cost of the phone system would be any barrier of entry. It's actually very cost effective, and when we get into the features and functionality, you'll see exactly how it really drives revenue to the practice, making cost a non-factor. And part of making that a non-factor is the fact that we are the only phone system that integrates with Dentrix G5. We've really worked with the Connected team to make sure that this changes the way your front desk operates and makes every single call the best opportunity for you to drive more revenue to the practice and increase patient satisfaction. So let's walk through what that call would look like. Well, first of all, you'll notice that as a call comes in, a screen pop appears on the monitor for the person who's working at the front desk. And they're able to see pertinent patient information that they're getting directly from the Dentrix G5 system. They also can take advantage of the things we have on the phone system, such as the wireless headset, which you see pictured here. So the call comes in, and they're able to greet that person and say, for example, Mr. O'Neill, thanks for calling in. How can I help you today? But they can go beyond just asking them how they can help them. They can have that patient information right in front of them, so they can look back at past charts or past appointments, so they can almost gauge what the history has been with this account and see what type of treatment they may be looking to book. So that is going to improve the personal service and patient loyalty, obviously, but also being able to click into the chart and say, you know, it looks like you're due for your cleaning or your annual x-ray. That really gives that touch that says that this person understands me as a patient and cares about me, because that's what we want when we call into a dental practice. So then they can fill up that schedule much more effectively, and that's also going to improve the chances of them giving referrals or recommendations for the practice too. But going a step beyond that, they can also quickly get to information regarding collections. So on this call, they can right there say, I noticed that your balance is $234. Could you take care of that now, or would you like to take care of that when you come in? And in this example, the patient says that they'll take care of it when they come into the practice. So they can proactively go after those collections dollars. One of the things we found when we were putting together focus groups to build out the features that we put in the integration was that a lot of the times the collections information, that collections question, wasn't being asked. So this was really a big way to drive collections for a dental practice. The other things they're able to do is click into the family history. So now you can really have a conversation about the other people who are members of the patient's family, again adding that personal touch, but also allowing you to identify if there are outstanding treatments for anybody within the family. Now, as I said, if you compare this to a call that you have today when it comes into the practice, how much of this is really happening, and how much visibility do you have into this happening? Also, how can you make sure that you not only remind them in your daily huddles that this is something that needs to be done, but have the tools that allow them to execute on the plan that you're putting forward in those daily huddles. And I think that this integration really allows your front desk to do that. So it really does do all of the things I mentioned before, as well as streamline the scheduling process that you have for the practice. So when you look at the OfficeSuite Dental product, and that's what we call this particular integration, the first thing we're going to go a little bit deeper into is the way that this system helps your front desk increase practice revenue. And I should note that some of the features are actually, or some of the benefits are available even if you don't have the integration. So you can get the phone system standalone, but since everyone on this call is a Dentrix user, why wouldn't you take the next step and get the integration? So talking about driving revenue to the practice, let's start with what's wrong with this picture. Well, the biggest thing that's wrong with this picture is there's no one in the seat. The more people that we have scheduled, the more people coming into the dentist practice, the more revenue you have for the practice. So how are we going to improve that revenue? Let's give you a couple of examples. Your marketing is really your lifeline to get new patients. And in today's world, patient acquisition is very difficult to track and know how successful each of the campaigns are. So with OfficeSuite Dental, you can actually track the success of campaigns by, for example, having a dedicated number. So when these dedicated numbers have calls coming in, you can track how many calls came into that number. They're tied to either your online campaign or your print campaign or something else. You can look back and see how many calls you had, and not only how many calls you had, if you have the integration, you can see who you were able to book due to those campaigns. It also gives you the ability to use that real-time data to make adjustments to maybe the messaging, or maybe you want to change the mix, the marketing mix you have. But now you have a lot more data on the way that your campaigns are running. So a big example, a big plus there. And as we know, on average, the amount of revenue that you stand to get by each call that comes in is going to be around $900 to $1,200. That depends on the type of dentistry that you're practicing. Obviously, if orthodontics or oral surgeons will get more per call, but this is on average what you're looking at annually from a new patient. So there is really a value in being able to make these marketing campaigns work for you and drive patient acquisition there. The other thing is you're never going to miss that call when it comes in. The way that this system is designed, it has features such as ringing a whole group of phones instead of one phone when a number's called. So if someone steps away from their desk, you're not going to take the risk of missing that call from a new patient who could then call another dental practice if they weren't able to get through to you. Only from an existing patient standpoint, you want to make sure that the calls are being answered, but it's even more important when you've got the added expense of trying to pursue new patient acquisition. So you can make sure those calls are being answered. You can also have on-hold messages. So you can have on-hold music for the practice, or you can have a message that speaks to a specific promotion that you have or a referral program that you have. So that's another way that you're driving more revenue to the practice. And then, of course, as I mentioned before, being able to go into the family records when the Dentrix screen pop comes up from the integration really allows you to make sure that you're getting the maximum revenue from each of those patients and seeing whether the family have outstanding treatments that need to be booked. And lastly, the other thing I mentioned, but I'll just say again, is the collections efforts. These are all ways that you can use this integrated phone system to improve the revenue that's coming into the practice. Secondly, we take a look at improving staff productivity. That was the other goal that we identified. And this really helps because you can use the customization or the flexibility of the system to make sure that your practice is operating in a fashion that makes it easy for your staff. So for example, let's say you have multiple locations, or you have somebody who's in charge of the front desk but wants to work from home on a certain day. Well, they still are going to be able to get all of their calls while they're working at home, but can control the whole system too. So the online website that I spoke about before is accessible from any internet connection. It's secure because you have a password and user ID. And once you've logged in as the administrator or as the practice manager, you can go in there and you can change profiles, you can change features, settings, etc. But you can also control the way that the call system works completely remotely. So that really is an advantage in terms of being productive wherever that office manager is. And we know in this day and time, there's a lot of people who like to telecommute or like to be able to work from the road, so you can still be effective when you're at shows. If something comes up, for example, and you need to make a change on the system, you can really make updates from anywhere at any time. You also stay connected with patients. So we know that there are some dentists who work from home, and maybe a question comes up and a patient needs to call in, but you don't want to give out your home number, you don't want to give out your cell phone number. This can be deployed in your house so that you just give out that one number. When you get home, you log into the phone at home with the same login and password that you use on the phone in the office, and that way all of your features, profiles, everything else follows you there. When somebody calls, they're actually going to think that you're sitting at your desk at the practice, but you could be at home and receiving those calls. So it really does give the office manager and the dental practice staff the ability to work from anywhere. And it also increases staff productivity because you can decrease the amount of time spent on each call. With all the information being there at the fingertips of the people operating the front desk, they don't need to fumble around with papers to see when the last appointment was. They don't need to take time to log in to Dentrix to try and identify if there's outstanding collections. All of that information, the most important information to really help the flow of that call and to get the most out of that call, is going to be available for them. Next, let's talk about patient satisfaction. And we know that a happy patient is not only somebody that's going to continue to come to the practice, but they're also someone who's more likely to bring in their family members or refer you to workers, co-workers, and things like that. Well, the first thing that you're able to do from a standpoint of patient satisfaction is give them that personal greeting that I mentioned before. The more personable you can be with the patients, the less stressful it is for them to be calling into the dentist. Usually people are calling in when they have some type of problem. So if you can greet them and show that you have knowledge of some of the past things that have happened in their dental background, it really does put them at ease and helps with the flow of that conversation. Then making sure that the calls are answered by the right person. Well, I mentioned before that you can use skill-based routing or, for example, language. If somebody speaks Spanish and you want all the calls to go to the Spanish-speaking person at the dental practice, then you can set up the system so that call always gets to the right person. Or if you have someone that you handles new appointments or rescheduling appointments, you can put that as an option in the auto attendant so it gets through to them. So there are ways we will work with you to make sure that the call treatments get the patient to the right person, which reduces or eliminates any frustration that patient has when calling the practice. The other advantage from a patient satisfaction standpoint is prioritizing those calls. I mentioned the dedicated numbers from a revenue driving standpoint, but how great would it be if every time a new patient calls in, they get the new patient standard greeting that you've put in place for your dental practice? Well, you can do that with this phone system. And of course, the more you can be personable, the more you can meet people's needs as soon as they call in, the more professional your dental practice is going to look, which obviously is going to drive patient satisfaction. And then lastly, reducing operational expenses. And there are a couple of things here to point out. One, as I said before, there's no big out-of-pocket expense on new equipment when you move to this type of solution. And I'll go through the pricing in a couple of slides from here, but you don't have to worry about having to buy a whole new phone system. Moving from your existing phone system to this one is very easy. As I said before, you can keep your number, but not only do you have all of the revenue generating activity features that I mentioned before, but you're also not going to be looking at anything more than you're paying today. So that's really something that's going to help you reduce operational expenses. It's going to, by the nature of it, increasing staff efficiency. It is also going to save you dollars because they can use the time that they would have been spending scrambling to figure out where the information was about a particular patient, or having to log in and log out every time a new patient comes in to switch screens. All of that time can now be used to do something else that's helping the practice. It assures business continuity, and when we speak to that, you know that there's been freak storms, and business continuity can also be occur when, let's say, somebody makes an error in the phone closet. Somebody spills something in the phone closet, and now things aren't working properly. Well, this system has built-in business continuity. So when a patient calls in, they're never going to get a ring busy line. They're always going to be able to get through to an auto attendant, or you can also make it so that if a call comes in, let's say something happens at your site. Let's say there's a snowstorm, and both patients and your staff can't get to the practice, but you still want to be able to rebook people. People are going to be calling in. Well, you can, just by clicking a button within the management website I mentioned before, you can go to secondary numbers that are built into the system. So your main numbers, the numbers you use today, are your primary numbers. But let's say you have cell phones or home phones that you want built into the system so that when people can't get into the office and we click Enable All Overrides, the calls will go there. We can have that built into the system so that that happens. So you're always going to be able to get a call. As we like to say, with the OfficeSuite system, you're never going to miss a call. The other thing in terms of reducing operational expenses is this really is an easy to use and easy to maintain phone system. So the moves, adds, and changes that you may have to call in telecom specialist today who's going to charge you to move somebody's phone number from one desk to another, or take someone out of the system, or add someone to the system. All of that you can do yourself with the online portal. So those costs of maintaining your phone systems, they are eliminated. And that means that there's no maintenance contract or hidden fees as well, so you can eliminate those costs too. A lot of times people look at their phone costs and think that it's just the usage. Well, there's a lot of other things that go into that, and this system eliminates that. And also the lifetime warranty is included. So if something happens with the phones, you can just send them back to us and we'll send you a new one, no questions asked. So let's talk about how easy it is to get started with OfficeSuite. Well, very easy for your staff. This was built with the end user in mind. So instead of having a new phone system that causes confusion in the practice, this is something that's going to make it even easier for them to do what they want to do. And any features that they have on their phones today, such as speed dials, are going to be easier for them to use in this system than what they have today. So we'll help in terms of the training, but it's a very intuitive phone system. So as you start to play with this phone system, you'll see that there's lots of buttons on the front screen. I have a picture of that in a couple of slides from here. And you can quickly identify what each of the buttons does. There's a lot of people that don't even know how to program a speed dial today, but you can do it in seconds on this system. The calls and messages you can get from anywhere. You can even have voicemails come in as a WAV file that go into, let's say, an email address, go to a personal email, a group email, or forward it to a smartphone. So not only are you never going to miss a call, you're never going to miss a voicemail either, if in the event that it does go to a voicemail. It extends to any phones I mentioned before, so that can be the home phone, the cell phone, and you can set your own preferences in the end user if you want the end user to be able to do that. So your administrator can administrate everything across the system, or they can set things up and then have each individual change their profiles to meet their needs. But as a practice administrator, they really do have the power in their hands. So they can, as I said, make any of those changes within 3 clicks in less than 10 seconds, and it is something that they don't need any additional support or help to be able to manage. It's easy to buy. It's basically just taking a look at how many phones or how many phone lines you have today, and then putting up a price quote for you. And I do have some examples of our small office pricing. And again, no IT degree required, no CapEx, no engineers needed to help there. The delivery method for larger practices, they may be looking at MPLS networks. I know that quite a few here in the smaller range are either going to use our bandwidth or they're going to use their existing bandwidth. So that you do have options there. It's easy to install, and it's so easy that a practice could actually install it themselves, but you don't have to worry about that because we have professionals across the country who will do the installation for you. So it can be as hands-on or hands-off as you want the installation process to be. And maintaining it is also easy too, because it's just point and click to make changes. And again, this was not designed for you to have to incur any additional expense or time when it comes to learning how to manage and maintain the system. And here's a snapshot of what the online portal or online website looks like. And you'll notice here that they have the image of a phone, and then there's all these little areas where it looks like it's buttons, and it actually is the buttons of the phone. So as changes are made here, let's say they set up a new speed dial and they associate with this button, once they click save, automatically it's going to show up on the phone that's on the desk. So you can't make mistakes when you're using the system. Very easy to go in there and figure out what you want to do, what features you want to add to each button on the display of the phone. And if you ever get lost, there are help tabs within the system where you can click on and find out exactly what you can do on that page. And we're always available for you to call into us too. There's a couple of features that I'll just quickly point out. Because the intelligence is in the cloud, it allows for a feature called hot desking. And this is very valuable for multi-locations, but can also be used in a small practice too. And it means that your profile as an end user is not tied to a particular phone. It's actually tied to your credentials. So when you walk in the morning, let's say you were working in the front desk or near to the front desk, but then later on you wanted to go and work in another office towards the back of the practice. Well, you've logged into the front desk phone, and then when you walk to the back and log into that phone, your profile disappears from the front desk phone and goes onto the phone that you now want to work from. So that's called hot desking, the ability to use any phone within the practice and have your profile follow you, or your speed dials and everything else. Call coverage, of course, as an incoming call comes in, you have the ability to say what you want to happen with that call, how many rings you want it to ring before it goes to voicemail or to another person working in the practice or to an auto attendant. Auto attendants actually is added as an added benefit to the system because they're included in the standard offering. So it allows you to create your own menu so people can say, press 1 to go to my cell phone, for example. You don't have to give your cell phone number out, but they can go to the cell phone directly. Press 0 to get back to the front desk. Press 3 for collections. Any way that you want to build the system, you can use that auto attendant to do that. And then, of course, you've got monitoring and intercom. I mentioned before that you can intercom between the phones, and that's a huge advantage for those of you who have multiple offices, or even if you just have a large office and you want to be able to intercom through to one of your coworkers. And then on the right-hand side, there's a whole list of other features. And when you get on with one of our representatives and you want to really customize this for your practice, we'll walk you through all of the available free features and show you how those can be used for your practice. Here's a snapshot of what the phones look like. So we have a full range of phones. The far left, we have a colored touchscreen phone, all the way down to a phone on here, which is a cordless phone. And in between, we have a couple of backlit phones here. One's 48 key, the other one's 24 key. This one is not backlit, but it still has that big LCD screen on the front, so you can see exactly which feature is assigned to which button on the phone. And again, as you make changes on the online portal or online website, they automatically show up on this phone. On the bottom, we have additional slimline phone that can be used, a receptionist module. We also have conference module solutions as well, wireless handset and wireless headset options. And we showed you the wireless headset option a little bit earlier. It's very popular for dental practices. We mentioned mobility, but what I didn't mention was a couple of different ways that we can give mobility to the practice. So we said we could have a phone at home and log into it as if you were at the practice and no one would know. But you can also make calls from your laptop by downloading an application that we call a Softphone. And with that application, same process as with your regular phone. You log into that phone and all of your contacts that are associated will be present, and you're able to make and receive calls, and no one will know that you're not at the desk. The other thing that we have here is the smartphone app, and this allows you to use the cellular data plan, or if you're in a Wi-Fi environment, a Wi-Fi network, to make and receive calls. And again here, you're using that cell phone, but the technology in the app allows you to make calls as if you were at your desk phone. So you're not giving away your cell phone number or anything like that. And if anybody's calling your desk number, it's actually coming through to your cell phone. So it's a very neat technology. Great for those of you who are on the road or moving from one practice to another, or sometimes working from home. It really keeps you tied into the practice. So getting started is easy. As I mentioned, we have a professional on-site installation process, and we have techs that will help you. And you get a project manager who works with you, and it can even work with you and your Henry Schein representative to walk you through all of the steps of the system. Everything is pre-configured by Broadview to your unique requirements. So we really want to make this customized to your needs. So we'll work with you throughout the process to make sure that we've got all of the features and everything else teed up for you with explanations for your staff of how that's going to work. Dedicated product management team, as I mentioned, ensuring that there's quality transition. And also you get detailed training for your staff. It's a web training, and you can have either all of your staff on that web training, or you can have just your practice manager, and we'll be able to walk them through a train-the-trainer type of training. And of course, the help is only a click or a call away, so we're always accessible, 21/7 customer service, and you can always go into the website to make any changes quickly and use the help buttons there. As I mentioned, there are a lot of dental practices that we work with today, and this is just a quote from one who's using OfficeSuite Dental, and they really have embraced the pop-up screen. They said it really helps them book more appointments and get more accomplished, and it's been a difference maker for the practice. So just some nice words there from one of our customers. We hope that you too will take OfficeSuite Dental and have a similar experience. And then also we have another case study from a bigger practice. It's a multi-site business dental practice here in the New York area. They have 11 locations. So the first example I showed you there was a single location. This is a multi-location. It's also had really great things to say about the OfficeSuite platform. And we can give you more details on this if you need them. When we put you in contact with one of our representatives, we can walk you through some of the success stories we've had with other dental practices. In terms of the pricing, this is a look at what the small practice pricing looks like. It's an example of 6 handsets, and 6 handsets is a total cost of $228 per month, so very cost effective. And then for a larger practice, the way we like to look at it is the number of handsets, the number of call paths, which is equivalent to the number of lines, and then the data necessary for that. So that would be the internet connection. Again, as I mentioned before, if you have your own internet connection, we'd just take that price off of it, and we can layer it on your existing internet connection. But in this example, it's $1,200 per month. But when you think about the fact that you're getting all of the features and functionality and being able to drive more revenue into your practice, it really is cost effective, even as you scale up. And just for being on this webinar today, you are eligible for our promotions. And the promotions we have available are free 1 month of OfficeSuite service when you sign up, and also you're going to get free OfficeSuite Dental Dentrix integration as well for your practice. And so that's really something I encourage you to take advantage of. And Jason, I'll just take this time to pause. I know we had some people who may have been submitting questions while I was talking, so I'll take a couple of questions, 2 or 3 questions now.
Thanks, Kevin. We appreciate that. That was a lot of information. We appreciate the detailed walkthrough of the OfficeSuite Dental product. We'll let you catch your breath for 2 seconds. I've been monitoring the chat and taking some questions. Let me just ask you a couple of the more common questions. The first is, will OfficeSuite Dental integrate with other practice management software solutions?
Okay, the question for that is no. The answer to that is no. It only integrates with Dentrix G5, and we are the only phone system that Dentrix G5 integrates with. So you'd have to be a Dentrix G5 user to take advantage of the integration.
Okay. Second question is, will this work with other phone systems, or does it require purchasing the phone systems from Broadview?
Right, so the integration has to work with our phone system. That's just the way that we built it. So your existing phone system would not be able to have these features and functionality or take advantage of the integration. So you would have to become a Broadview customer to use the integration with Dentrix G5.
Okay, and the benefit of that obviously is it is a complete solution from top to bottom, from hardware to software to integration, which is a great thing to eliminate problems. Another common question that we got was, how long does it take to install and get the solution up and running?
So if you're going to use our internet connection, if you're going to use us for your internet, it's going to take 6 to 8 weeks. But if you're going to use your own internet connection and layer our solution on top of that, then it's going to be 4 to 5 weeks.
Okay, so much shorter there. Related to that, we had one person submit a question regarding internet speed and how much bandwidth and how fast of an internet connection would be required to add these phone systems into the internet as opposed to running it on its separate system.
Right, so we have 88K per core. That's basically what we use in terms of the measurement of how much bandwidth you're going to need. So we'll just take the calculation of how many phones you have and then times it by that. But again, we will work with you to see what your existing bandwidth is today and give you guidance in terms of how the system is going to operate on what you have today, and if we need to make tweaks, if we need to give you more bandwidth, or word that into the price quote too, so you can see exactly what you'd be getting into or what you would need if you want to stick with your current internet provider and just update the amount of bandwidth you have.
Gotcha. So it seems like if I read that correctly, there's a good chance that there's a wide variety of speeds out there that are available to some of these practices, and
yes,
it's best to look at that and let the Broadview experts say you've got plenty of bandwidth here, plenty of speed here to handle it. But in general, would you say if they had business class internet, cable
yes,
internet, that would be enough? Okay.
Correct.
Okay, good enough. And the last one, let's see, I got a lot of questions on can I keep my existing phone number, and I think
yes,
quite often you made that very clear that yes, you can keep your existing phone number so it won't be that disruptive to your practice.
Yes.
Okay.
And with the project management team and having the qualified installers, we really do make sure it's a minimal impact on the practice when you're making that transition.
Fantastic, fantastic. Those were really the key questions that we had over chat. So why don't you wrap it up and tell us where we can find more about Broadview OfficeSuite Dental, and we'll take it from there.
Great. Well, everyone who joined today, we're going to send a follow-up email out with additional information and put you in contact with the Broadview representative for your area. But if you want some more information, you can also go to OfficeSuiteDental.com. And at OfficeSuiteDental.com, you're able to access a video that gives you a really good outline of exactly how the integration and the system works. If you need to show that to someone else in your practice who's part of the decision-making process, definitely say that's a good thing to do. And you can also download an OfficeSuite Dental brochure. In addition to that, there's also a phone number that you can call, and it's posted on the website, but I'll say it here. It's 732-362-8624, and that's going to get you through to our OfficeSuite Dental team, who can answer a lot of your questions and steer you in the right direction in terms of the next steps. But remember, all you have to do is go to www.officesuitedental.com.
Fantastic. All right. Well, on behalf of Schein Practice Solutions and the Dentrix team, as well as our vendor partner, Broadview, we really appreciate your time, and we look forward to speaking with you in the future. Have a great day, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.